Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are going to start part 3 of our Christmas in July mini junk journal book. Welcome. If you're new here, if you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Diana. I'm the owner of From My Scrap Room on Etsy, and I'm doing a little Christmas in July fun. Last week, I did the Simon Says Stamp Tim Holtz Holiday Collage class, which I linked in the part 1 video. Went over doing some collage, some Christmas themed items, and I decided that I wanted somewhere to store these. I wanted to show them off in a little book, and so we started to create a mini junk journal. Again, like I said, we're in part 3. This is our book so far. It has a fabric cover. It has seam binding closure. It has an eyelet in the back to hold my seam binding in. 3 signatures with a 3 pamphlet stitch spine. The size is a 4x6. We decorated the inside. I made a few mistakes and fixed it, and I just realized that I might have glued that in upside down. Ooh, this was like a hot mess, but most mistakes can be fixed, so we did fix quite a few. So like I said, I'm on part number 3, and today I'm going to be adding things to the pages on the inside, decorating some of these, starting to put in the tags, and then at the end of this video I will decorate the front because I have an idea of what I want to do, and it's going to need time to dry. But I did say that this was going to be a start to finish, so I started off with just some cardstock and oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Cardstock and pattern paper and some tea dyed paper, and I have some and coffee dyed paper, some folders, and some lined paper and some grid paper. So just different things that I use when I make my journals. So there we go. And yes, I think what happened is I did these, added them upside down because my front cover and the back are in the same direction, but my signatures are this way. So it's not that big of a deal. I mean, you can see the script is a little bit upside down. If I just add a little few elements to that, it will be easily adjusted. So not too worried. But so let's get started. We are going to decorate some pages with the remaining scraps, I guess you could say, cut off pieces from what I used for my signatures. I have I have an old envelope that I'm going to add in there as a pocket. I have my ephemera book. This is my Tim Holtz ephemera book. I do have a video on this that I can add to the description below on how I put this together. But I have a section here that is for Christmas. So I will be pulling some items out of here, excuse me, to add. Oh, that's Halloween, Christmas. So I'm going to use some pieces from this. I do like to add stitching to some of my elements and my embellishments, ephemera pieces that I make, but my camera is not set up to film. Excuse me, my camera. Yes, my camera cannot film where my sewing machine is because of the way it's set up. So if I am going to do that, I'll probably do it later and then show it to you in the next video. If there's a next, I think there's going to be one more video and then it'll be done. But let's get started. I've talked long enough. So I'm going to start with my book. Excuse me. It is warm here in California. So I have my fan going. Hopefully it doesn't blow my papers around. And there was a fire yesterday, so there's still a little smoke in the air, and my allergies are on high alert. So if my voice gets all crackly, excuse me, it's from that. I do have a hot tea here, so I might take a drink once in a while, but let's get going. Okay, so I have my book. I pulled out some doilies. I have a gold and a regular. I have an old envelope. I have cut off pieces that I initially pulled out for my book, which I will continue to use. I have my paper trimmer. I have a ruler, just in case. Scissors. I have some Tim Holtz Cello Tape. I have the Tim Holtz Christmas sticker book. So this, I showed this in the first part 1 video and then didn't get to it. So I have that. I have, and this is some of the stuff that I pulled out for the class, and I've left it out, and I'm just going to keep using it. This is Ice Spruce Distress ink and an ink pad. And then I also have a Vintage Photo Distress Oxide here. That's always on my desk because I use it quite often. I have a tiny attacher within reach, and my glue, and some collage medium glue just in case. And let's see what else is right here, and a sanding disc. If I get anything else out, I will let you know. But let's get going. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start. I did not distress any pages when I put the book together. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, and I was not trying to quickly, but I wanted to get it put together so you guys could see the idea that I had in mind. So I'll probably add some distress in here now. I have a old spiral notebook here that's just regular lined paper, and I will keep it handy in case I want to distress something. I can protect the other pages. So this is also going to be right off to the side, which I will get that out. So I'm just going to start with the first signature. I created a pocket here. This one was a pocket. It was a larger piece of paper I cut to 8 by 8 and then folded it up 2 inches to create a pocket. So I would have the 6 by 4 and a pocket. So I'm going to start with that one, and I'm going to pull out my ephemera book and see. I'm going to have this opened off. I'm just going to show you again. I have my Christmas. I have Christmas layers, which are they're like a thicker coated cardstock piece. These are heavier. And then there's ephemera pieces, which are paper, thinner. So they're just, this is a little heavier than copy paper. So maybe like a thin double-sided paper. And they're not coated, and they're paper pieces. So I'm going to be pulling from those 2 things. Okay. So I'm going to actually just set this right off to the side. I have a small little table right here to my right, which I am just going to set this on so I can flip through it while I'm working. So it will be off camera for just a moment, but then you'll see what I'm grabbing. Okay. I'm just going to move this over here. But I want to add something to the front of this pocket so that you can see it. I am going to add a tag in here and put one of them, house one of those in there. And I might even add one of the poinsettia cards, one of the floral pieces, like one of these. I'm not sure if this one might be too fat for the pocket. Yes, this one would be a better size. So I can just add that in there just to add another element. That's actually smaller. Add something a little bigger. Is this one bigger? Yeah, this one's bigger. So I could just add that in there just as a little tuck, a little element. So I want something for the front here. I might even use one of the sticker sheets to add something on that. So I will start with maybe a sticker. We can do a maybe Merry Christmas. See if this is too long. Yep. So look, I already lost my stuff. Scissors. I mentioned in the other video, I am kind of a bit messy, and I'll own it. I know I am. When I work, I usually just toss things right in front of me and then look for it. So I'm still getting myself used to the fact that I'm filming and trying not to spend a lot of extra time digging around on the desk right in front of me to find what I'm looking for. So I grabbed a sentiment sticker. It's too long for here, so I just trimmed it. I'm just going to stick this in. They are adhesive. They're stickers, obviously, adhesive. But because these items are going to be going in and out, I don't want it to bump that and possibly peel it off. So I'm just going to add a little bit of additional adhesive to it. Let's put this out. And then add that in. So stick those back in there. Find something for the front. I had an idea. I'm not sure if it's going to fit, but we will see. This is one of those die cut little lacy pieces, and it will fit right there. I just have to trim it off. So I'm going to add that. I'm just going to set it there. Oh my goodness, I have a tickle. Excuse me. Or even this one. Oh, that might look nicer. So this one actually fits a little better. Little tiny trim off on both sides. That's really cute. I'm going to use this. So I'm just going to trim off a little tiny bit on that end so that it's straight, so that it can go into this spot here. And then I'll trim off the other piece. So I'm just going to distress this a little. Yes. Add a little color. Just add a little bit. I also noticed, well, not that I noticed, I know I do it, but didn't realize how badly I do it until I was editing my last two videos, is I'm a bit of a mumbler. So again, getting used to the fact that I am filming myself and I'm talking to you guys, when I'm thinking about something, I kind of think about it out loud, but not loud enough that you'll know what the heck I'm talking about. So I will work on that as well. Just little things that, being new to the whole filming situation that I'm not used to. But there we go. That just added a little bit more to my pocket so that it's more noticeable. And I have two elements in there. I do have this cello tape. So this will be fun just to add a little bit more of element. I'm going to add a little bit at the bottom of the page so that it looks old. Maybe even the top. You could tape some of that down as well. How about like that? I'll rub that in, burnish it a bit. Just going to fold it over. And then add a little piece right here where the pocket is. I'm actually going to stick that right underneath there so that it looks old. Here we go. A little bit of tape. And there we go. It's a pocket. I'm going to actually zoom in a tiny bit. I want you to be able to see. I was able to do the mirroring on my laptop a bit. So hopefully that is a little better. I do need to, make sure that I stay in the space of where the filming is. Okay, so there we go. A little pocket, a tag that's already ready. Added some decoration. There we go. I'm gonna do, I guess I can kind of go in order. Okay, this piece, if you remember, was the piece that I messed up. I talked about trimming off your hangover once you put your signature together, and if you had element pages, to make sure you didn't cut them. And then I went and I cut it, and I ruined it. This was going to be a flip out page. I had it set up so that it was going to go like this and flip, but because I did that and I cut it by mistake, I'm going to use it instead as a tuck spot. So I'm going to adhere the ends here on this side and this side, 3 sides, and leave it so that we can tuck additional elements in here like such. Okay, so I have grab it. I had to buy a new one. I just recently bought a 1.5 inch circle punch. So let me get this open real quick. Piercer, help me get this open. Should have opened it ahead of time. Here we go. Okay, circle punch. So when you have little pockets or a little thing, whether you do a pocket or a tuck and you want to add a little circle notch, you can just use your circle punch. It's about half, maybe even a little less than half. I center it, give a squeeze, and then I have a little notch there. So I'm going to ink this also. And the inside. They do have smaller ink blending tools for these kind of things. I don't own any of those yet. I've seen people use the finger dauber types when you're getting into spaces like this, but it's preference. My goal this year, and let's see, we're in July, Christmas in July, is to use what I have. I've already made several purchases at the beginning of this year, and I haven't pretty much have not touched the stuff I bought. So I'm not going to grab anything else until I start using those items. Glue, adhesive aside, that's a consumable and I'll use it, so I will grab that on occasion. Okay, so I'm going to rub that in, and now I have a tuck, maybe a tag, something like this. It's a little saying, and that would be very cute to tuck inside there. Okay, you can add whatever you want. I'm just giving you some ideas for pages, and because, like I said start to finish, so I want to get this to a point where it feels done, I guess. Not sure, but yeah. So that was a tuck. So I have these in here. I could use this for journaling. Let me add another. What else do I have? Something I can add to this white page right in the front. I'm going to also grab my little clips. I showed these when I did the spine, and I'm just going to do this so that the pages aren't folding over on me as badly. Okay, So I am going to grab this extra little book, add that in there. So I'm going to add some color to the edge of this page. The trick to doing distress ink is to move your paper around. Wait, let me rephrase that. Let me start that again. The trick to distress ink is to start off your paper and to bring it onto your paper. Okay, that's one thing. Because if not, if I went straight to my paper and started to go, I'm gonna have a big circle. And you don't want that. So you're gonna start to circle it and bring it on and bring the ink on. It's best to do it on the glass mat or the craft sheet because it'll blend a little better. You're doing it on paper, it's just going to soak into the paper. But because I didn't do this before I bound it all together, I need to make adjustments. The other thing is, as you saw, I moved my book around. So move, instead of trying to get all twisted and crooked with your wrist, move your paper or your book to give you better angles. Okay, so I'm going to go with one of these pieces of scraps that I have. I have a tea-dye piece of paper here, and I'm going to trim it to fit in here with a little bit of a frame. So this is a 4x6 page, allowing for the fold in here. I'm going to do 3.5 by 5.5. So I'm going to trim this piece of paper down. Three and a half, 5.5. Move that over. Some more distress ink. Go around. Excuse me. Gosh, I hope that wasn't really loud. Okay. For this one, I want to add another, possibly a card or a scene card from from the pack. Actually, I could use that and not even worry about adding another layer. Oops, bring it back in frame. You see what I'm doing? But it would look nice if I had a double something. So I can add that into there. Or yeah, let me just use that one, I think. In my in frame. I'm going to adjust my camera and be right back. Okay. Hopefully that is better, closer. I think that's a better shot. So I'm going to adhere this in. I do a bit of a zigzag. I don't go all the way to the edge because I do burnish my adhesive out. And I don't want it to spew out. That makes sense. So, sorry, my arms in the way. I'll use my tool here. You could use a credit card for this, or a brayer works as well. If you have a brayer, that helps you get the glue to spread out So that's another option. So you can use either of those two things. I am going to distress this as well, but I think I'm going to go with the brown Oxide just to add some dark onto here. Oops, I'm out of frame. Practice, practice, practice. I gotta practice, practice that. I'm gonna stick that down here. And add that in. The layers kit, actually I have a brand new one. This one. This is Layers and Paperdolls. This is from 2023. So I believe there was a 2024 release, which had a few different things in it, but it comes with a ton of pieces. Let's see, 95 pieces. So I had, I think, 2 of these initially, and then I was gifted one. So this one hasn't been used yet because I still have my ephemera book that's still full of pieces. But in here, it's the thicker ones, the thicker pieces, like I was talking about. But they come with the Paperdolls, and the Paperdolls in this case are ones that look wintry, and they have jackets or scarves or that kind of thing. So you could add somebody in there with a saying. I'm going to almost make this like a tag, because that would be cute there. Believe, with the little girl, and maybe like at the top, using a piece of it, not the whole thing. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to trim this. Already, my scissors already got buried under something. Oh, under the trimmer. There we go. All right. So I'm going to just use half of this. And add some adhesive. Use some distress on here. I might put a label behind it as well. Yep, I think so. Yep. So I'm going to actually have it like that. So add a little adhesive to the top right here. Place it on here. And then there is, when I add my pieces to my ephemera book, I use repositionable, removable adhesive. So there is a little bit of adhesive on here. If you were using these items as a pocket, like to stuff in a pocket or little pieces like that, some of the adhesive, it's hard to rub off. So when I have duplicates of things, I'll put one in my book and I'll keep one separate, and I keep it in one of these plastic containers. And this way, if I need something that I don't want it to have adhesive on the back, I have an extra one. But that's just because I had extra supplies. Excuse me. All right, and I'm going to add her in here. adhesive. I'm not going to color her in for this one, but I might on the next one. There we go. Candy cane's crooked. Fix that. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So that was that. Let's see, am I in frame? Yeah. So that is just a background paper, one of the pre-done cards, which looks like it's a scan of maybe a postcard or a card front. So if you had old card fronts, you could cut that apart and use it. Paper doll, saying, embellishment pieces. And I'll leave that. And then I did this one. I think on this one I want to add a little bit more of something. I might add trim to that, but not yet because I have to dig it out. Okay. I don't decorate all of my pages in the beginning. Excuse me. Because sometimes I get inspired by something else I see and I want to add that afterwards. So I don't do it all at once. So I'll leave like the lined paper blank or without anything on it, grid paper, usually without anything on it, so I can write on it. Some of these full pieces, I'll just do a cluster or paper clip something in. So I have my metals in 3D printed. These are like toolbox tool bins. They have little. They had a name. The inside is not flat. It has like a curve on it so that you can pull these out easily. My husband was able to print these for me. I love them. And I can just bring them out, set them on the desk, and then put them back in the drawer when I'm done. And then I just tape on what's in it so I know. But these little tiny paper clips, focus, work great for books like this as well, because you can just clip something on and clip something in. There's also the ones that are like, I think they're called bullnose clips. He calls them tiny clips, and they are tiny and they look like binder clips, and they're fun too to have things to clip in. So I'm going to just set these in the front in case I decide to use those right now. All right, I'm going to create a small little cluster to go on here. I'm going to use scrap pieces that I have. Oops, sorry. Some scrap pieces perhaps. And we'll do that. So let's see what I have sitting right here. I have some teal or snowflakes. I have more music paper. I'm not going to use the music paper because I have music paper right here. So I don't want to use too much music paper back to back to back. I probably will use, I'll use this red. So when I do my clusters, I try to have at least 3 pieces in different sizes. So, for example, I will cut this one, possibly, let's see, to maybe 1.5. No, too fat. 1 inch, nah, 1 1/4. Okay, so 1 1/4. So it's 1 1/4 by 4. So that would fit. You can clip it in or you can glue it in. So my goal is to probably glue it in. It might be towards the top since my pockets will be heavy with the items in them. I need to add some things on the top of my book to balance the weight a little. So I'm gonna put this over here. So I have red. Then I have a little bit more of this. So I could do 2 offset pieces. Let's see what else do I have right here. I have tan color, which I'm gonna use this one, and I'm gonna cut this to 1 1/4, 1 3/4, so it's gonna be a little fatter, but I'm gonna shorten it up. So let's see, maybe 1 1/2, almost a square, not quite a square. Okay. Then I need something a little bigger for there. If you've watched my videos or my room tour video, I have a bunch of items that I will punch out of scraps. So I should have grabbed that out first. Let me just use a circle. I have a circle punch here. I will take, after a project's done and I have a bunch of scraps laying around, I'll just go through and do a bunch of punches. I'll do circles or cut down squares or use like this. This is one of the embellishment pieces, but that would look cute on there. I saw that. Cut tickets, that kind of things with my scraps. So those are things that I like to do with leftover pieces. So then I am, refocus, sorry, there we go. So that I can use the scraps I have in the project or have them ready for something else. So let's see here. I like that, but I think it needs something like right in here, maybe something long. This is another strip that I had left over. I could possibly use that. Just to add a little bit more color in there. I think it needs to be patterned. So, what else do I have right here? Oh, see, I'm kind of mumbling again, huh? Sorry, guys. I still have this one also, which was the cover for one of these other signatures, but it will also help tie pieces together. Might not use that because I just used a tree. So that one's not going to work either. I have other pieces. Let's see here. What about, here's another, this is another piece. That one's kind of fun. Okay, I might use this. I'm going to trim this down so that it semi-fits in here. Might even make it slightly higher. Okay, so that's 2. Come on, squeeze. All right, so creating a cluster here. Okay, so I'm going to use this. My cluster is going to go on the edge, so I'm going to go to the inside. Add some stress on here. Adhesive. Add that. I pulled this out, but this has holly on it, so it still works. Let's use it. Let's use it. Add that. So when I stuck that down, I wanted to see a little bit of the red. You see that? There we go. So I have a little bit of the red trim, the brown, and then another color. So that's really 3 pieces there. And then I have the elements that are going to go on top. Okay. So So I'm going to ink this piece. And this is going to go on here. But I think I need another little piece of color. So I'm going to use a label. Small little labels. For some reason, my camera's not, it doesn't look like it's automatically zooming. So I hope it's not too out of focus. I have some labels. I can use black and red, maybe two. These are also Tim Holtz snippet labels. I do make my own labels also, which I love. It's for me, it's kind of a relaxing type of task to make labels. I enjoy doing it. Stamping and then cutting, stamping and cutting. I can do it while I like, oh my goodness, now I can't talk. I enjoy doing it because it's kind of, it's relaxing. It's also something I can do and hang out with hubby at the same time. So if we're hanging out in the living room, if he's playing video games or watching a movie, but it might be a movie I've seen before or something like that, then I can sit and cut while we're hanging out together. And we're still hanging out together. And I'm getting a couple things done. So anyway, that's that. So I'm going to stick this up here. I'm actually going to glue it in. It does hang over a tiny bit. It's going to hang over on the page, but because I put in these file folders, there are little tabs there, so I'm okay with that. If you don't want it to hang over, you could trim it off, or move it further in, or stick it on the inside of something instead. It's all preference. But I'm going to just stick this in. This isn't going to be a tuck or anything like that. I'm just going to stick it. There we go. So that's another page, another embellishment to go on our page. This one, you can add something to it if you'd like. I'm going to skip that one for now. I'm going to leave this as is. I am going to add a, that's not big enough, these bigger ones. This might be something I add to the inside. I'm not sure yet. Let me think about that for a minute. The layers kit also comes with these really pretty pine cones that you can add into spots. You could clip them on, you could glue them in. I'm not sure yet, so let's skip that one. Okay, then we have another pocket, the other pocket page, which is the opposite of this here. Again, another pocket piece. I might use this time to show that it's the pocket, and then just trim off that edge. So give me another pocket. Okay, let's start with that. Where's the edge? There it is. Stick that in as an edge piece. Trim that off carefully. Okay. I'm going to go with another piece of the cello tape. have more of this. Where is it? Here. It comes with several sheets. Does it say how many? Oh, 3 sheets. 3 different types. I'm going to add this up here and fold it over. I love this stuff. It's so fun. Okay. What am I going to stick in this pocket? No yet. One of the other tags, if you did Tim's class, was a pocket tag. So it was 2 tags together, and the top one had slits in it. It came with it was like a custom one, but some of the gals on the Tim Holtz Addicts group showed another die that you can use. I just used an X-Acto and my paper trimmer, and I cut it myself. You can see my mistakes, but I wanted to get the concept of this tag for the class. But I just cut it and I used an X-Acto, and then I just inked around it. But all these pieces are removable. So these are all different layer pieces. And this, the concept of this is to add a gift card for somebody. So if you had a gift card, these are my scrap gift cards, but you could add it in there as a card and then have other pieces in there as well for fun. My point is, you can do this concept on pages with pockets like this. So you can either stick the whole thing in there or add larger pieces in here like I did with the other one, and then maybe a card and a tag of some kind. Let's see here. Like a gift tag like that in your pockets. So it really just depends on what you want to add into it. Actually, that's really cute. I'm going to stick that on there too. I want something behind it though. How about another tag? That one's kind of big. That one's too big. This one's cute too. How about that one? Let's add that. You can also add interest by using foam dots. Whoops, I dropped it. By using foam dots. Foam dots will help you if you wanted to pop something up and then maybe tuck something behind it. It gives you a little bit more dimension. And the way I did it, you can even add something underneath. I'm not going to put that there, but that's the idea. You could do that. So let me pull out this card again that we made. This is the Shaky Shake card. But if you look at the side of it, see right there, you can see all the dimension and space in between. So it makes the card have more dimension to it. And then I was able to add little pieces underneath when I went, oh, yeah, that needs something right there. Or, you know, I stuck at that. I was able to stick a tape in there. I was able to tuck that little piece in there after I had already stuck it all together because there was space. Okay. This card front piece would look super cute in here if you just did the card, like trim down the card a bit to add it in. So I might make another one of these to stick in my book. But for now, let's focus on this. I want Santa in there. He's really cute. I could put him in there. Yep, I think I am. He has a little bit of sticky on him. So I'm just going to push that on there so he doesn't flop around. But there we go. So there's another green. Here's the other one of the polka dot pages. So, it's like a little bit of glue. I also have, which I like to use, doilies. And this I often do them like this. So it adds decoration to both sides. So I'm going to do that on this one. I use my art glitter glue. It is a fine tip, so it helps to get all in these little tiny spots for the adhesive rather than a big blob of glue or a clunky-ish glue stick. Okay, so I put a fold in here already, so I'm just going to hold it, stick it on, and push it down. There we go. Okay, I'm going to add something else to here. Maybe another flower, perhaps. Yes. And I have this other piece. Nope, not that one. There are these little music pieces, which are also part of the ephemera pieces. So yes, I'm going to stick that on there. When I create Christmas journals that I've created to sell, that I've sold in my shop, I tend to leave some of the clusters unattached so that the buyer or the recipient can add the pieces where they want. I'll do some that are adhered down, and then I'll do several journaling cards and tags, and then I'll just clip them in with paper clips. And this way they can, whoever the book is for, can add the pieces where they want. I'm going to trim this. There are some, sometimes ephemera pieces, because they're mass produced, they're not cut exact. Not a big deal. Just trim it. Just trim it up if it bothers you, which sometimes it bothers me. Add that. I think I want another piece of red something. Yep, I'm going to add that. And yep. So there we go. There's another one. And that's just a small little cluster in the corner of the page, on the edge. This is a smaller book, so when you put them in, it does feel like it takes up more of the space. There are some larger pieces. Is that going to fit on there? That will fit on there. That's another one that would be a good tuck piece or a flip out piece. I'm going to make it, this actually has adhesive on it. But I could still use it as I'm going to use it as a tuck. I did add the adhesive closer to the top when I stuck it in my book, which actually works out perfect. So I'm just going to add some adhesive on the side here. I didn't go all the way, just halfway. And then down the side, and then a little bit on the side. And this is going to go right on this cover piece. There we go. I'm deciding if I want it to be all white underneath or not, but I think that's fine. Okay, so there we go. Look at that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 elements added to this first signature of our book. And you see how much more crocodile-y it made it? So it's going to be a lot heavier. So that's why I added the strings, so that when you can tie it, you can cinch it a little bit to close it. So what do you guys think of that? So that's, I think we've been at that for about a half an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep adding to this. Oh, no, I wanted to do the cover. Let's do the cover. You guys, I think you grabbed the concept of what I wanted to show. The way to add different elements to your book, pockets, tucks, adding clusters. That's another tuck piece. I'm going to add a few more pockets because I do have more tags. You can also, like I said, clip them in. So let me actually just put some trim on this tag right here. I still have more of that seam binding right here. So I'm going to double it up and then just tie a quick knot in here. You see what I'm doing, see what I'm doing. I'm just going to do a quick one, just like that. And trim this open. Okay, trim this one a little shorter. Okay, so a tag. And then I'm just going to take this smaller piece right here and I'm just going to clip it in. So I'm going to use this tiny little clip. Clip it towards the top. And then that lives right there. Okay. I have to say I have a lot of Tim Holtz supplies is probably accurate. I love his style. I use and collect a lot of his paper products. I don't have as many of the ideology dimensional products, such as, you know, the trees or candles, or he's done pumpkins and barrels. I don't do a lot of 3D things like that, so that's not something I gravitate to, but I do have quite a bit of his paper items. At first I used to hoard them, and then I thought, why? If I don't use them, who's going to use them? So I get out the stuff now and just use it. I do also have quite a few of his stamps, and I'll stamp elements and cut them out, as you've seen with what I did with the specimen field note set to make labels and tags. I do have some of the things I've done for Christmas, so I also have that. But what I wanted to do was the cover. So I'm going to, I had an idea, and I want to show, I'm going to do it and show you. Let me find the pin for my glue right now. Oh no, wait, I'm going to use it. I'm not going to glue it yet. Okay, so I have the baseboards from Tim Holtz. In the class, he did a altered frame, and it was a window, and it had a wreath on it. Well, I found a wreath, which is a layer, so it's shiny. It's the thicker cardstock. I pulled that out. A window frame. So this is chipboard, baseboard. Okay. And the screen, this is supposed to look like window, I think they're called leaded windows maybe, and they have all the metal in them. So I'm going to use it like this. I'm going to trim off the extra, and I'm going to adhere it to my book. What I'm going to do, the reason it's going to take a while to dry is because I have the Snowfall grit paste. And I've used it once. I don't even really think I used it. I think I just like took my finger and tested it out and put it on something. But I hear you can make your windows look snowy. So I'm going to try that right now. And that's going to go on the front of my book. So I'm going to measure this out. It doesn't need to go all the way to the edge when you adhere it on. You can. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to cut this. This is an acetate. It's a printed acetate. So it's heavy duty plastic. Okay. And I do have to do the top edges because see, it's hanging over. So I'm going to trim that. Yep. And trim that. And then I'm going to glue it down and adhere it to each other. So I want the black piece, the black to be seen. The other side's gray. But I want the black to be seen. Yeah. So I'm going to glue it down that way. Okay. So I'm just flipping it over. And I'm going to add some adhesive to here around my frame. I'm not sticking anything in it, so I'm okay to give it one extra little piece across the middle. Line it up. Make sure it's adheres. Yep, I got glue all over me. I moved it. So that's what happened there. Can I see that? Yes, I can. So I have a little piece that I didn't cut all the way, so I'm going to just trim that real fast while it's still wet and movable. Okay, here we go. So I got it all the way around. See my light and my fan going, but clean that up. Okay. So then I'm going to take this Snowfall grit paste. Actually, this says it's going to dry translucent, which means that's going to be clear. So I want something that's going to dry white. Let's see. I have that one. Let me see what else I have. Okay, here we go. Opaque texture paste. Ideal for dimensional effects. Okay. Palette knife allowed to dry. Okay, so brand new. Get this open. I hope this is still good. I think I got this in like a mixed kit and didn't use it for a long time. So, survey says it's kind of hard already, but it's still pliable. So, give it a little bit of a mix. My goal is to make my window look like it had snowfall on it. So I'm going to take some with this, and I'm going to cake it in. I want it to get into these window pockets, I guess you can call it. I want it to look frosted. I want it to look like it snowed on my book or on the window frame. And then I'll add a little sparkle to it as well. So let's see how that's looking. And this will dry with texture. This is what people use when they use the stencils and they end up with texture tags. I've not done that yet. It's on my list of things to try and to do. Which, now that I have this out, I should probably just try it. Maybe we'll do it. Oops. Okay. I think that looks good. With some texture. Now, I'm going to use the other side of my knife, my popsicle stick. I think I have a palette knife somewhere. I think it's, yeah, I'm not sure. And then I'm going to use the Snowfall. I'm going to grab some and stick it in the lid so I don't get too much of it mixed up. I'm going to add some glitter. I'm wondering, I probably could have mixed this like on a palette, mixed it together. But honestly, I'm not sure because I haven't done it before. So I'm not sure if that would have worked or not. And I'm not being super precise because snow and snow clutter, snow where it gathers on your cars or windows or whatever, is not precise. So I'm not being super precise with this. And I also live in California, so I don't get a lot of snow where I am. So maybe snow doesn't look like this. I'm not sure. But I think it looks good. I think it looks kind of cool. So this is going to dry. And I will end up getting myself a new popsicle stick. I'm just adding a little bit more sparkle to this. It will dry. I believe it dries clear. Okay. So that's that. Trash. Close this up. Close this up. Okay. So that's my window frame. And it's going to sit on here. On my book. Like that. So I am going to, I think I'm just going to glue it down and let it dry that way. So I'm going to go in with my yeah, I'll just use it, art glitter glue. And I'm going to add a little bit more glue this time. I'll go around the edge. I'll go through the middle. And then go maybe through the two of those across there. And I am going to stick this, make sure this is the right way, on my cover. A little pressure. It is wet, like my paste hasn't dried, but it will. There we go. And then this wreath is going to go right on the top. Right there, which I can do that too. I'm just going to go all the way around. I don't know what is going to touch it and what's not, so I'm just going to stick that down, and I'm going to stick this down. And there we go. It's so cute. I might even add one of these in the Baseboards pack. There are word chips. They're chipboard. Might just add one. It's cute. I'm going to end up covering up my snow right there. Can I go in the middle? Does that look okay? Or should it be at the top or the bottom? I like it at the bottom. So I'm going to add this as well. These are, I'm not sure if these are adhesive. Let me check. See what the package says. Baseboards and Transparencies. This is also a 2023 release. Baseboards. Oops. Come on. Here we go. Printed book board and transparency elements can be added to vignettes or Christmas mixed media projects. It does not say anything about them being adhesive. But I'm going to pull off this waxy piece just so I have a better sticking point. Also, yeah, I think it's just paper. Sounds like it's just paper. But we'll see. There we go. And that's going to go right there, right on top. Okay, so hopefully you guys got some ideas from that. We have the cover done, and we have one signature that has embellishments and page elements. And then I'm gonna, whoops, sorry. And then I'm gonna leave the rest to keep going and then to add other pictures. But so that's what that looks like. I hope you guys like that. I hope you got some ideas, some page element ideas, different ways to clip these in. And then I will keep going. I might do one more video just to show you kind of the end and then talk through it. So hope you guys had fun. Enjoy Christmas in July, and happy crafting, everyone. Have a great night.